What's going on, everybody? Ricky Robinson with 2XR Media, back again with another video. In this video, I'm bringing you another microphone from the Fifine company over at Fifine. This is the Fifine Amplitank Tank 1. So I could go off on a tangent about how Amazon stuck the label for my address and everything on the front of the box, and they just had it all exposed like that, but whatever. Maybe it's just trying to save the environment, less cardboard, right? But this is the Fifine Amplitank Tank 1. And what is this microphone? This microphone is an XLR only microphone. This microphone competes with the XLR only Rode PodMic. This is the first generation. As you can see, there's some similarities there. There's quite a bit of similarities. While we're talking about similarities, let's go over them. These are both XLR only microphones. They both do not have any kind of monitoring. So there's no volume knob on there. There's no headphone port on there. It's just an XLR only microphone. But they also come with yoke mounts built into them. As you can see, it looks like a Y, and it has these two things on the side. This is the yoke mount. The good thing about the yoke mount on both of these is the adapter on the bottom. So that is the adapter on the bottom. It comes built into the actual base of the yoke mount, and these both have that. So if you have a long enough thread on your mic stand, you can use this without the need of an adapter. Now, if you did need an adapter because you have a shorty like this mic stand does, then it comes with an adapter in the box. So you get an adapter in the box, but that's the only thing that comes in the box, the mic and the adapter. They both have these metal mesh grills that have a pop filter built into it. Peter Piper picked a peck. So you can see it does eliminate some of those plosives, and you can get a little bit closer and speak directly into the front of it and not have to worry too much about plosives on this microphone. Now, you did hear some because the capsule is probably pretty close to the end of where the mic stops and the mesh grill starts. So it's pretty close. So that's why you get something like, you get a little bit of those plosives popping through, but it's not that bad. And as you guys can see, it does eliminate some of that if you did want to. This is from Rode, and this goes with this microphone. This was about 20 bucks. This is an additional thing. This did not come with it, but Rode starts selling these, and they are in different colors, but this does fit over the Fifine Tank 1. Albeit you do need a little bit of, force to get on there, but it does fit on there, and you can see it eliminates a lot more plosives. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. As you guys can see, the plosives are almost all gone, and you can speak directly into the front of it and get a nice sound out of this microphone. But that is where the similarities end. So I'm going to take off this windscreen and we'll go over the added features. So the great thing about this microphone, this microphone does unfortunately cost more than the Rode PodMic, but I think it is worth it when you see what comes with it. So now you're listening to me through the Rodecaster Duo, and this device allows for you to adjust levels, adjust EQ, add different effects to the microphone to make it sound a little bit better. This is in the flat profile that the microphone comes with. This is how it sounds right out of the box. So if you plugged it into any XLR interface, it will probably sound exactly the same that it does right now. But the good thing about the Rodecaster Duo is you have a little bit of processing built into the actual device itself. So now you can hear the difference in the way it sounds. This is with processing on. So if you have something like this, you can get a very flat sounding microphone to sound a little bit better, which to me, the Rode PodMic needs some EQ because it does sound a bit flat. It can sound a bit tinny and a bit thin for me. Some of the times, especially after listening to some of these other microphones from Fifine. Not saying that this is a bad microphone at all, but it is a really good microphone, and it is a good bang for your buck microphone, especially if you're just getting started in podcasting or doing stuff like this with video. But this one just gives you a little bit more flexibility. And I'm not speaking about the processing right now. I'll show you right now what this microphone does that the Rode PodMic doesn't do, but you can hear how the processing does add a little bit more character to this microphone and just makes it sound a little bit more professional. So let's turn the processing off. So now the processing is off, and this is the way it sounds normally right out of the box. So now let's talk about the differences in this microphone and what this microphone has that makes it a little bit more special than something like the Rode PodMic. This has a low cut filter, which is engaged right now. And this allows for some of the rumbling, some of the low end in your voice and in the environment around you to be cut down just a little bit. So you can have like noises from your refrigerator, noises from your AC, and different sounds from computers and stuff like that. It just has a low rumble that you might not hear right off the bat, but you will hear listening to a recording. So this cuts that down, and you hear it did cut down a lot of the bass in my voice. So now I'm going to engage the other added feature that this microphone has in it. So now this is the mid boost, and this boosts mid range to give you just a little bit more presence in your voice. It just gives you a little bit more fullness in the voice, and it just sounds really, really good right out of the box. So this is how you can get it to sound without the need of a Rodecaster Duo. If you just had something like a basic XLR interface, you can get it to sound just this good just by doing those two things. But if you wanted to bring back some of the bass in your voice, you can. So now this is how it sounds, and I like how this sounds much better. Unless I have something in the room that I need to cut down some of that low end, then this for me is how I would like to rock this microphone. Pause. That sounded weird. That sounded weird. But anyway, this is how I would like to use this microphone. And again, if you wanted to get it a little bit more razzle dazzle, now you got the processing on the Rodecaster Duo to give you just that little bit more push into sounding more broadcast friendly and more professional. Now we're going to try out the PodMic and see how the PodMic sounds in comparison to this microphone. And while we're talking about it, while I have this microphone on, we'll talk about the features, and I'll show you those knobs in the back that I was just talking about. This is the Rode PodMic, and this is how it sounds with no processing at all. This is how it sounds right out of the box. And this is what you get. Now, it's not a bad sound, again, like I say, but when you compare it to something like the Fifine microphones, you get a little bit more low end in those microphones. These can sound a bit thin in my ears, and to me, that they need just a little bit more tweaking in like post-processing or something like the Rodecaster Duo. But let's talk about the Fifine Amplitank Tank 1. So this is how the microphone looks right here. If I can cover my face. This is how it looks. Nice looking microphone. And those are those toggles and the XLR port that I was talking about. And this is the yoke mount that I was talking about. Now this does have the adapter in it, but it does look exactly the same in the bottom that it does in the PodMic. So there's no tweaking the audio in this without using something like the Rodecaster Duo or your editing software. But we have the processing of the Rodecaster Duo. So now this is how it sounds processed. So this is how this microphone sounds processed. It sounds really good, but it needs that, for me, it needs that processing. It needs that extra oomph. It needs that extra push to get it to sound just that much more professional. But this microphone just gives you a little bit more of a leg up when it comes to professional sounding. This sounds more fuller, more natural to me than the Rode PodMic does. That's just me. Fifine did send a microphone for me to test, but no money exchanged hands. And I asked them to allow me to use the microphone for a while, and they did. No pressure from them. They allowed me to use it, and I told them I would make a video at the end of it. I would want to just get a feel of the microphone and use the microphone more. So I've used it. Now, I didn't put any videos out with it, but I did use it. I did test it out in several different scenarios. I tried to make mock-up videos just to see how I like the sound of that microphone, and I am very, very pleased with that microphone. The microphone works really, really well, and it has those features that give it just a little bit more push. Something like my Zoom recorder that does not have the EQing and all of this other features that the Rodecaster Duo has on it. If I wanted to use that, now I don't have to worry too much about something like EQing in post. I can just record it, connect the two clips together, my audio and my video, and now I can put out my content. It's all about ease of use on this channel, if you guys noticed, which is another reason I got the Rodecaster Duo. If you guys are curious about how the Profile 3 sounds, the Profile 3 is a USB-C only microphone, but it has some of these features like that low cut filter built into it, and it does give you a mix and minus knob. So if you guys are curious about that, there will be a video in one of these cards up above me, and you can go check that out to see how that sounds. So now we are back on the Fifine Tank 1. And you guys can hear it's not as harsh as the PodMic was on that high end, even without that pop filter on the end of it. But this microphone is excellent. I think you guys can agree. If you guys hear it, let me know. If you guys don't hear it, that's fine. I mean, it's not something that you have to run out and buy. I'm not trying to sell you this device again. I don't get any kickback or anything from this device. I'm just trying to show you, if you're looking for it online, if you saw it online, if you saw a new XLR microphone, and you're like, is this microphone worth my hard-earned money? Then hopefully you got something out of this video. But if you didn't, you know, just let me know down below. This ain't it. That's fine with me. I'm okay with that. I mean, I didn't make the product. I'm just showing you the product, what it can do and how it can sound. So this is the Fifine Tank 1. It's a very fine microphone, if I do say so myself, but you guys can be the judge of that. Have a good one. My name is Ricky Robinson with 2 Times R Media. Peace.